So I'm so happy to have you here. And tell us, who is Clare Davis?
Thank you very much, Shahvid. And I'm really happy to be here. So I'm Clare Davis, and I am really passionate about emotional fitness. Emotional fitness is actually my baby. And the reason why is I do mental health training in schools and organizations. And I'm so passionate about it. I've been training for over 20 years. And the main reason is quite personal because prior to 2007, I was one of those fortunate people who had not had any major traumas in my life. I had grown up in a very demanding family, so I had pressures in my family. I'd grown up in a family with 7 children.
Whoa.
With a very, very ambitious father.
You're the first one or the last one or middle?
I was the 5th. I'm the 5th. Yeah, the 5th girl. So imagine that, 5 girls and then 2 boys. And actually, my father was very, very ambitious and we called him a workaholic. And my mum and dad actually had the 7 children in 10 years, would you believe?
Wow.
Yeah, and my father went back to university to study medicine while running a pharmacy when mum was pregnant with the 4th child.
Wow.
And he actually then graduated from university doing full-time medicine when mum was pregnant with the 7th child. So we grew up in a very hard-working family, very, very strong work ethic. My dad had us all doing loads and loads of chores. We lived on a small holding on the outskirts of Sydney. So we'd get up in the morning, we'd feed the cows, we'd come home at night, we'd feed the cows. And
then you're from Australia?
I'm from Australia, yeah. I'm from Sydney, yeah.
It's not the accent, though. Yeah. I'm going to keep on listening. Go ahead.
Wow. And then, we then were all about, looking after my dad as a doctor. So he became a GP. And, at the ripe old age of 13, I was walking off the school bus and working in the doctor's surgery. So it was all work, work, work in our family. But until 2007, I hadn't really experienced a trauma. And then in 2007, my youngest brother died very suddenly of a brain tumor. Yeah. I moved my young family, my husband and my 2 children to Australia while I was pregnant with the 3rd child. Then when we got to Australia, we finally settled in, and 8 months later, our house burnt down just after I had my 3rd child.
Oh my God.
Then, there's more than this. And then I had a cancerous melanoma. And then my 4-year-old son got lost on a massive property for about 5 acres. And then my dad died very suddenly. So my emotions were all over the place. This all happened to me within about, a small time, within about a year. And then I got pregnant with my 4th child. So my emotions were all over the place.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But how old were you when you had your first child?
I was 34 when I had my first child, and I was nearly 42 when I had my 4th child.
Wow.
So, being an older mum as well. But why I'm so passionate about emotional fitness is because I realized due to all this grief and loss that I had to work on my emotions. Your emotions can at times go all over the place. And we have to do something about it, because if we don't, we can get really, really sick. And so that's why I became a mental health first aid trainer, one of the reasons why, but also that's why I'm all about, within the workplaces and the schools that I work in, I'm all about working with you for better emotional fitness. It's all about getting better emotional fitness.
The first aid emotional, what is that?
So what I deliver now to schools and organizations is mental health first aid training. So I have been a trainer for over 20 years, and my passion in training has been to train middle managers, because I became a middle manager, like a lot of us do, because we're good at our jobs. But we're never trained on how to manage people, how to look after people, how to motivate people, how to coach people.
How to support
people. So I was in a role with that terrible boss where it was just all about targets, 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 but she never looked after everyone. So I've got a real passion to really look after middle managers, because middle managers are squeezed from the top and the bottom. And what I found was, when I was training lots of middle managers in professional services and within schools, a lot of them were starting to say, but Claire, what about mental health? What about mental health? So I retrained as a mental health first aid instructor through Mental Health First Aid England and Nuco training. So now I can offer...
What?
Mental Health First Aid England is one of the organisations, and the second organisation I train with is Nuco training, and they've got the NUCO, and they've got the certifications for mental health training, first aid training. Okay. But I also deliver my own courses, and
your courses are for both workplaces and high schools
and secondary schools, secondary schools and junior schools, and it's not just for students. It's also for the teachers, because before I got into the corporate world, I was a secondary teacher, and it's tough. It's really, really tough. You're squeezed like middle managers from all different angles. So I'm really passionate about helping people to work on their emotional fitness in schools and organizations for teachers and students.
And how did you develop that? You know, this started with the training, and then you're like, well, let me actually create a service to like actually help people in a structure.
So the way I've developed it is, I run the Mental Health First Aid England courses and the Nuco courses, which are the certifications for mental health first aid. But I've also developed my own courses to be very specific to the organisation or the school. So I find out what their needs are, and then I will develop a course for their needs. So a great example is I'm just about to deliver a talk to a massive gas and electricity company across the world, and they wanted a talk for an hour and a half on managing stress for positive mental health and emotional fitness. So that's what I've called it. So what we're looking at in there is how to, first of all, spot the signs of stress, because stress, if we can spot the signs of stress, we can do something about it before our mental health spirals down. So we go into lots of detail about spotting the signs of your personal stress, and then we're going into detail about how to cope with stress in the moment. So I've got some 10 tips on that, and then we go on to detail on how to manage your emotional fitness and how to make sure you're bringing top-ups into your day. So I'm about to deliver that talk, that webinar online to America. So I'm very excited. Yeah.
I'm really excited that you exist. And I really want to get some of those tips, but we're going to get to the tips soon. And I guess so you've really been, so you've been in the system as an educator and then step to like do the official training as a first aid mental health facilitator now, and now you actually like work with the organization and make it fit them.
Definitely. I'm very, very conscious about exactly what their needs are. So they will tell me what their needs are. I will write the webinar or the workshop or the course. Then I will run through it with the person organising it. So the training manager, because sometimes we don't always ask the right questions. And then I make sure I always send pre-course questionnaires when it's a workshop or a course. Webinars I don't, because like today I've got about 100 people on it. So I don't send pre-course questionnaires to 100 people because that's all I'd be doing. And then I'm very interactive as well. So with the 100 people today, I've got a lady from America who is facilitating the chat. So throughout the webinar, I'm saying, pop in the chat what your thoughts are on this, pop in the chat what you think of this. And then she is calling out what people are saying in the chat, which is really lovely for them not to just sit there and listen. And it's all about their actions. So throughout the webinar, I'm saying to them, okay, what are you going to stop doing? What are you going to start doing? And what are you going to continue to do? This is because we need to realize that we're probably doing a lot for our emotional fitness, but we can get into bad habits. So how can we change these habits? How can we actually help ourselves when we have a bad week and we get out of sync? And we all have our bad weeks. We all do.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just present to, like, you know how, like, we usually remember much more if we say things. So by you having people actually, like, interact, you know, that actually probably makes a difference for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely.
And from all that training that you really give companies, you've also created something that anyone could access.
Yeah, I have. Thank you for mentioning this. So what I was thinking of when I wrote my book, it's a book called Emotional Fitness, funnily enough, A to Z for Positive Mental Health. And I was really thinking for years and years, what sort of book could I write? What sort of book could I write? And I'm a very pragmatic trainer. So when I'm training, when I'm delivering, when I'm facilitating, it's all about putting this into practice. And what I realized is that so often what can happen is we go on this great training course, but then we forget about it after a few weeks. We start to put things into practice, we forget about it, and we need some help to continue. So I decided to write an activity book. It's an action book. And so the A to Z is 26 chapters. Every chapter explains the science behind why it's good for your emotional fitness.
You have the book right in your head.
Sorry, what was that?
I thought I was hearing a book. Do you have the book next to you?
I missed that. Oh, do I have the book next to me? Of course I've got the book next to me. I've just got to dip down to get it. Here it is.
Oh, yay. Just leave it on the screen for a second so we can, like, see it. And you know, the link is also here if people want to share. Yep. And cool.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. So 26 chapters, and I will show you a little bit of the inside because I've had it beautifully illustrated so people can color it in. And then every chapter has activities and space for you to make notes as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's almost like a journal, and people can dip in and out of it, do the activities as they like, redo activities, make notes, color in, whatever you want to do. So this is your journey. This is about your journey. And I'm really excited because I've got a junior school who have purchased the book, and they've purchased it for students from 8 to 9-year-olds right up to the year 6s. And each year they're going to redo the chapters. So each
year
week.
6, for all of our American listeners, year 6 is what age?
So around about 11-year-olds. So 8-year-olds to 11-year-olds. And each year they're going to redo. They've got a chapter they're going to do a week. That's going to be their theme for the week. And well, they're doing it at the moment. That is their theme for the week. They do the activities. They adapt the activities because some of the activities may not suit 8, 9-year-olds. Adapt the activities, but then each week the theme is incorporated into their English, into their maths, into their RE, into all their different subjects as well.
So cool. And so this book is really for grown-ups, and it's adapted for children as well. Can I just add something?
Yeah, definitely.
I come from the age, well, it's not the age, it's the area or arena of the dating world. And isn't that a cool thing to do with your partner? Where you
so I'm going to
responses, then a year later you could see what your responses was from last year, and then you could write more.
Excellent. So can I actually name drop a bit here?
Go ahead.
Claudia Fragapani, who is a famous gymnast in the UK, has bought the book with her boyfriend, and they actually do the activities every night, and she's put it on Instagram. So it's very exciting. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So back to the dating world. Yeah. Definitely.
Can you give us a few examples of activities that?
Well, probably let's talk about the breathing chapter. So B is for breathing and how important breathing is. So I actually talk you through a very simple breathing exercise, which is breathing in for a count of 5 and out for a count of 5. And that's the cleansing breathing exercise. So you're breathing in really viciously, breathing in through your nose and out. as well. So there's lots of different breathing exercises. But, you know, I like that cleansing breathing because that really gets us to wake up and feel focused during the day.
That's so cool.
Yeah, definitely. Good.
Can we have one more?
Another exercise. So let me think. Let me just dip in. Let me think. And dip into a chapter.
What is F for? You showed us the letter F and it looked so colorful.
Showed you the letter F. So let's go to F. F is for... Here we go. Flexibility to bounce back.
Oh, I thought you were talking about yoga, flexibility.
Yeah.
Really
well, flexibility. So I've started every single chapter with a quote, which is my quote. So the quote for flexibility to bounce back is, when you swim in deep water, adjust your strokes to get to land.
Yes. Oh, that's so smart.
Okay, so what I get people to do is, away from the activity book, this is quite an interesting exercise actually. Write on a separate piece of paper a difficult or unpleasant situation you are facing right now. What's your first thought? Is it a negative thought? Write down your thoughts. Write down the consequences of your negative thoughts. If you're able to, go for a 5-minute walk or focus on your breathing for 5 minutes to clear your head. Then go to the book and in your notes section, write down how you could have dealt with the unpleasant situation positively. Write down the outcome of dealing with the situation positively and what you could do differently next time. Then go back to your original piece of paper and rip it up and throw it in the bin. So it's getting rid of those negative thoughts.
Oh, wow. It's giving them space and it's giving them space, clearing them out and then creating something new.
Yeah, definitely. And the new thing is actually written in the book. So you've got a journal of that for next time.
And then a year later, you could see what we did last year. I don't know if it's a year later, so 26. Really depends if you do one per week or one per day.
Yeah. That's the beauty of the book, because you can dip in and out of it. So you could say, oh, I want to redo that activity a month later. So it's up to you what you actually do.
Cool. Yes, I was in the hospital for my anorexia. It's like 10 years ago. And one of the things, so it was a mental health unit. And one of the things we were looking at is creating our own toolbox. And you're just like, here is a book. The whole toolbox in the book with like, this is just so great.
Definitely. You have to send the book to the people in the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was in America.
Yeah. Well, I've got a lot of people in America who have bought the book.
And so you're right now in the UK, right?
I'm based in the UK, yes. And as I said, I'm just about to deliver a webinar to America. And a lot of people I know have bought the book in America. So, yes, it's available on Amazon in America.
So thank you so much. I know you are so busy and making a difference. And just if we have a little bit more of your time, maybe you could tell us about the HINK workout.
Yes, yeah. So I'm very excited. I developed a YouTube channel and podcast in the first lockdown in the UK. So last year, a friend of mine from Australia did the 25-day push-up of 25 days of 25 push-ups a day on Facebook. Did you hear about that challenge on Facebook?
No.
And so, well, it was for anxiety and depression, and he's a real Aussie guy, and he just started talking about mental health.
Aussie is Australian,
Australian, yes.
Okay.
Aussie is Australian. And he just started talking about the stats and mental health, how it impacts people. So I contacted him and I said, Benny, do you realize I'm a mental health trainer? And what you're doing is absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. And he went, Claire, I've got a bit of a plan. I think we're going to get together when I finish this. So after he finished the 25-day push-up challenge, we just did an interview on Facebook on what is mental health first aid. And we put it on Facebook, and all these people were commenting and saying, this is absolutely brilliant. We've got all these questions. Can you answer all these questions? And you should put this on YouTube and podcast. So what evolved from that is I now interview, I've got mental health chats as a YouTube and podcast, and I interview people from all over the world with regards to mental health concerns. So I've done topics like eating disorders, self-harm, body image, men's mental health, menopause, what else? Loads of different ones. And sexual assault, that's another one. And I interview the people from all over the world. And then Benny comes back for the last interview and we talk about the stats and facts on that topic. And what came from that was in the second lockdown, my daughter and I were going for a dog walk. And she said, Mum, you know, your YouTube and podcast is great. However, she'd been looking on YouTube and podcasts for some activities to do for positive mental health. And she said, I can't find them anywhere. I can find great activities for exercise or great activities for this, but nothing activities to do every day for positive mental health. So we had a great talk about it, and I have done a 21-day program on my YouTube channel called HINT, which stands for High Intensity Neural Training. And each day for 21 days, there is an activity which is about 4 to 8 minutes for your positive mental health. And people actually do the activity alongside the book. I refer to the book in it. They keep a journal. You can redo the 21 days. And I am looking to do another 21 days, but not in the near future. It will be coming up next year, probably.
Wow, that is so awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It is
so much for just being a contribution to the world, and
thank you.
And for everybody, me included. Clare Davis links are here in the box. So, you know, the book, the podcast, just how to find out more. If you just want to get it for yourself, if you want to get it for your girlfriend, if you want to get it for your mom, if you want to connect it with your school, your organization, Clare really does work with big organizations, and they gift that book as a gift or the training, and it's really worth it.
Thank you.
It's really worth being in a good place, because when you're in a good place, you could make a big difference in the world.
Thank you. Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What do you do for your emotional fitness?
What do I do for my emotional fitness? So I open my toolbox.
Open it up.
Open it up. Well, I could open it up right now. I did. So the music videos that I do are trying to take, mental health or mental fitness, if we're speaking the similar language, taking coping skills or enhancement mental health skills, and leverage them through video. So my last music video was young people giving their advice. So it's just really fun to just watch, one is call my mom, go out with the dog, make some tea and take a bath. My personal skills, I really like expressing myself. So making those videos for me is a big thing in COVID is turning off my phone, literally going for a walk without my phone.
Excellent. Love it. So for all those listeners out there, it's thinking about, what do you do for your emotional fitness? What can you do to help yourself with your emotions? Because we all have our ups and downs, and we've all had our down days during COVID. So what can we do so that we don't go on that spiral down? Because as my YouTubes and podcasts say on mental health chats, it's the early intervention that's so important for recovery. So if we can aim to help people with early intervention.
Definitely. And for those who don't know what early intervention, me a few years ago probably wouldn't have. It's training yourself before you hit the ground. Before you really crash and burn out. It's
definitely
all those, everyday thing, having lunch on time, eating breakfast, those small things that prevent you from getting all the way down. That's early.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for your time and for your contribution, and those of you who are watching, please share your thoughts below, things that you'd want to hear more. You have Clare Davis contact and book here, and podcast and enjoy. And really, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Shahbaz. It's so lovely to see you. You're such a positive person to be around. So thank you.
Oh. Go team. And all of you guys are watching, like your choice to be here means you are part of the team. You're choosing. You could have been doing anything right now and you chose to be part of this and you're a person spreading light. So really thank